Welcome to episode 1 of our new show. She is Lais, and I am the coach, and that is the name of our show.
First of all, if there's ever been a time for personal bubble, this is
We will always stay true to what we do. What you're doing is going to get you to the next place.
Right.
Throw the list away. It's only a matter of time before you cave.
You can look way better than you used to.
Such a great experience.
Well, like it knows everything you've given.
Shown curiosity.
What if it actually works?
I've been chopped down como persona.
100%.
An extra
You're sitting right now. Sometimes it is a member.
Welcome, everybody. Peace out, everybody.
Welcome, everybody, to Lais and The Coach. And this is episode number 1 for 2025. I don't think it's a new season.
I'm so
but
excited.
It's
Happy
episode
New
1.
Year!
So, Happy New Year, everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Is it Valentine's? No.
Almost.
Happy all of the holidays that we have missed since we last recorded.
Yes.
And we are here today because it is a special day. It is day 301. Not since the zombies took over, and not since the last outbreak, but 301 days since we decided to go on the road into this adventure.
301 days on the road, you guys.
Today is 301. Yesterday was day
300.
300. And we were going to...
I can't believe it.
Well, we were going to do an episode yesterday on day 300, but I'm glad that we kind of finished day 300 to make sure that we
made it through.
We did all 300 days.
It's confirmed.
So 300 days on the road, 44 weeks, or this week starts 44.
This week is 44.
So today is the beginning of week 44. We left on a Monday. 34 Airbnbs and kind of 10-ish hotels.
Probably
That's where
more
we're at.
hotels, but yeah.
Yeah, some of the hotels have been a week. Some of the hotels have been overnight. Some of the hotels have been in between things. Some of the hotels have been on the road. Some of the Airbnbs have been a week. We did 2 Airbnbs that were a month each.
Month long.
It has been all over the place. That's why the numbers are a little skewed. But 34 Airbnbs, 10-ish hotels, 44 weeks, 301 days.
Can you believe it?
I can't. If you watch that episode, when we started, we didn't know how long this was going to last.
I definitely didn't think 300 days, though.
I couldn't have told you it would last this long.
I thought it was going to be like 90 days.
And even midway through, I couldn't have told you how long I thought it was going to last. So the fact that we are still here is a testament.
We're still kicking. We're still kicking.
All things that are going on. But I'm live on YouTube, which is why I'm looking over this way. I'm going to close that out. Because we are testing going live on different platforms. We got a million things going on. We got a list.
We got a list.
We got 2 lists.
If you've been watching for a while, you know that's rare. We don't usually do lists.
We don't always have a list.
We just go.
And I'm going to bring this back. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it because Publix is not sponsoring this episode. But if they want to, they can. Anyway, guys, on today's episode, we want to talk about everything we've learned in the last 300 days. We want to talk about how all the things that we've done and learned and been through over the last 300 days are going to impact our fitness goals. And most important, how it's going to impact the way that we coach moving forward. Mm-hmm. We want to talk about some of the new things that we've got in the pipeline that we're launching.
Announcements.
And kind of dive into what we've been doing lately. And if you follow us on social media, you do have some idea, but maybe not the whys, right? The whys are kind of important. Because why you do things is kind of why you would be intentional about doing it. Yes?
Yes.
So we went on this adventure, if you didn't watch that episode, and there is an episode and I can link it in the show notes, because we were not sure of the direction that we wanted to go in next back then in all ways. We didn't know if we wanted to stay living where we were living. We didn't know what we would do with our fitness. We didn't know what we would do with our business. We didn't know what we do with a lot of things. And a lot of times when you've got too many decisions to make, I always feel like it's better to stop and take a second, right? And sometimes I think people feel like in life, you can't stop and take a second, but you have to.
Yeah, it definitely felt like we were at a crossroads, right? Like there were so many things we were talking about, so many things we were analyzing, so many things we were taking inventory of. And so many things had shifted and changed. And we definitely were in a place where we were like, this is an amazing life, but like, there are some things that aren't feeling aligned. There are some things that we need to figure out here. And sometimes you do need to stop. A lot of people feel like that's a luxury. And I think it's a necessity, right? Because it's like, you can't just continue because like, well, I got responsibilities. Well, I don't really have a choice. Well, I got to suck this up. And like, we don't do life that way. We don't believe in living life that way. So we figured the best way is going to be to just like start from scratch in a way.
I think just to piggyback on what you just said, I think that the reason that we all do that, or for the most part, people tend to do that, is because we are on autopilot, which solidifies my point of stopping. Mm-hmm. Most of the things that we do, that you do, watching, listening, everything is either a reaction to something or an automatic response to the way you've done everything. And I don't think that we realize how ingrained that program is. Yesterday specifically, I shared in our private Facebook group that the numbers are all over the place, but more or less they say we have 100,000 thoughts a day, and that more than 85% of those are the same. So it just proves
we're basically robots,
right? But it just proves that the going on and on, the kids, the life, the
work, the this, the
it
that.
is all automatic. And the way that you're doing it is kind of like the way that you're going to keep doing it unless you stop. So that brought us to a lot of conversations about some of the things that we wanted to accomplish, some of the goals that we had. And we were at a point where we were able to make a lot of decisions, and then we didn't know which ones we were going to make. So the best one was to kind of almost take a pause, right? And
assess.
So we packed up all our stuff, sold what we could, put it in storage, took you guys along so that you could watch us do it, and went on a road trip, right? And along the road trip, we thought that at least I figured that by the time we got back, we'd have some clarity, and there was none.
I feel like the first like 60 to 90 days, we would get all the clarity and, you know, kind of like, because you're out of your routine and you're out of your everyday and you're out of your usual environment and all that stuff. I'm like, you know, inside of 60 or 90 days, we're going to have so much clarity and so many answers of what we're looking for. But honestly, after the first like 60 to 90 days, I felt even more like, I don't want to say confused because I wasn't confused, but I felt less clarity than when I even started. Right? It's almost like, nope, not yet. Like now you know even less because now you have all these, now you have shaken up your entire life and your entire like schedule and routine and environment. And now you really have to pay attention. I think that that's what was really surprising to me about the first 90 days. It's like everything we did, and still now, but at first it was so new, has to be so intentional. Go ahead. From where we're going next, to how much food is going in the fridge, to what does today look like, to how far is this from this Airbnb. And it's like everything had to be like thought about. And most of us, like you were just saying, don't think about all the details of our life every single day because 90% of it is on autopilot. And a lot of us are not happy with that, but we don't think that we can take the time. It's like, well, sounds nice, but I got to get to work and I got to pay these bills and I got to do these things. And this kid's got to get to school. It's like, what are we all doing here? Like living to work and pay bills? Like, no, thank you.
Well,
right?
If you stop for a second and you think about what that did for us, right? It opened up a lot of options. And with options come possibilities. And with possibilities come choices. And I think that most of the time people think they want more options and more choices. But when you have them, you start to realize that you may have a hard time choosing which one you want to go with. Look at it like this. Were we going to go to Florida? Were we going to go to New York? Were we going to go to Virginia? Were we going to Texas? Were we even going to continue to coach? I think that there were a lot of things that we needed to evaluate, but at the same time put on the table. And when you put too many things on the table, it's like, I don't know about you guys, but how hard is it to figure out where you're going to go to dinner or what you're even going to have for dinner?
Right.
When you have too many options and too many choices, you realize that it's not that you don't have as many options or as many choices. It's that making a decision is sometimes hard because making a decision requires that you think things through a little bit and that you kind of like commit to the thing that you decided to do, right? Like if you wanted to go out for sushi, but you're not sure, and now you're sitting at the sushi restaurant and you're like, I don't even know if I want this. Yeah. Right? It's like, why are you having that experience? So
it's almost worse to have more options and more choices. It makes it harder to like do it.
So in that moment for us, we really didn't know. And I think that what we wanted to do next required a lot more intention than just let's just figure out what we're going to do as we're doing it.
Right.
That's something that we've done in the past,
Yeah.
and it wasn't what we wanted to do now. So we decided to go on this adventure,
Mm-hmm.
not knowing when it would end or when we would figure it out. And I think a couple weeks ago, just in conversation, you know, I felt like it turned into like a whole eat, pray, love thing, right? Where along the way we've listened to so many podcasts and read so many books and talked about so many things and kind of like rediscovered this newer version, and really dug deep about what we want this next chapter to be about. And all that to say, like, that's kind of influenced our decision to do the things that we're going to do next. But even with our business and how we coach, it kind of breathes perspective sometimes to pack up all our stuff every single week, right? Manage the week. Listen, she's prepping. We're on a fitness challenge that I'll talk about later. It's like we're eating multiple times a day. We cook every meal. We've got to be at martial arts at a specific time. So we got a grocery shop specific to the amount of time that we're going to be here, not buy extra things. They're going to sit in the car. But there's a lot of moving parts to getting it all done.
Yeah.
And over the weeks, it's become easy. But I bring it into the conversation to say a lot of times people are drowning in a glass of water. I don't know if in English it's the same, but
I think so.
is it?
I think so.
Okay. Ahogándote en un vaso de agua.
There you go.
Do you guys say it the same? No. Okay. So,
No.
and
What
what
do
it
we
means,
have?
and what it means is that a lot of times people are overcomplicating the simplest of things,
Yes.
right? And one of the things that I think subconsciously I wanted was to demonstrate that you can still do all things no matter what the circumstances are like.
Because here's the thing. Even if you're the type of person that works really long shifts, which we have so many people that we coach that work in hospitals, that are doctors, that are nurses, that are police officers, that work overnight, that work 12, 16-hour shifts, that work 24-hour shifts, right? It's like, even if you're the type of person that has crazy work schedule, maybe you work 2 jobs, right? Even if you're the kind of person that travels a lot for work or that's on the road all day, has kids, insert thing, nobody is dealing with the level of all over the place that we are.
Not to mention both our kids are home.
That's what I was going to say. So start with the fact that like both our kids are home, right? Junior's homeschool, Bree works with us. We are all home all day. We have to work. We have to take care of our kids. We have to prep or want to prep and take care of our health and all the things. But it's like we're always on the go. Like not only do we spend hours a day inside of the martial arts situation between driving and sitting there, but also like he was just saying, when we're at an Airbnb for a week, we have to like buy the right amount of food so that we're not leaving that day. Because the day you check out of an Airbnb, you got to check out by 10 a.m. and you can't check into the next one till 4 p.m. So we are on the road all day and we have to make sure we're not stuck with a bunch of food. So there are so many moving parts to this adventure.
And all of it by choice. But
of course.
But the point is that it all still gets done.
That's what I was going to say. Like there are so many moving parts and all of it is by choice. And we have a great time doing it. And it's great, but it does require intention. And that's what I was going to get into. It's like, that's a lot of times what's missing for a lot of people that aren't really able to do it all, right? It's like, yeah, but I work 2 jobs and I have kids and I'm a single mom and whatever. It's like, great. Like you have time for all of that. You have time for this too, right? Because we all have the same 24 hours in a day. Anytime there's a part or something in your life that you can't get it together or you can't get to that or you can't consistently make that happen, it isn't because you don't want to and it isn't because you don't actually have the time for it. It's because you're not putting the level of intention that requires to at least get it done. That's really all it is. I
think that a lot of times, and this is honestly going to just play into like some of the things that we're talking about as far as coaching goes. Mm-hmm. I think that a lot of times people look at balance in a way that doesn't balance out. And here's what I mean. People think that things should be 50-50 or 25-25-25. And I was talking to Bree the other day and I was explaining it in a pizza. Like if you've ever gotten a pizza and they slice it, all the slices of the pizza are not even. A lot of times one slice is bigger than another. A lot of times you get a little slice. When you throw pepperoni on it, there's not an even amount of pepperoni, but it still is all one pizza, right? And where balance exists is where all of the things that you're trying to do fit onto that pizza, into that 24 hours, right? That's where balance comes in. It's not that everything has to have the same amount of time,
Correct.
or the same amount of intention, or the same amount of attention. It's that it requires some. That little slice of pizza still has to have cheese, sauce, some pepperoni, right? So it's that you've got to give the thing that requires something what it requires,
Yes.
and not overconsume other things, either mentally or time-wise, or even conceptually, where in your head it's taking all day.
Correct.
Right? Because if you think about it, how long does it actually take to work out? Depending on your goal, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 60 minutes, right? If you're training for something that requires more training time, then you're going to have to commit to that thing more, right? If you're training for a marathon, you're not going to be able to train for 30 minutes a day until it's marathon time. You're just not.
Yeah.
So there's where the intention is, right? What is the thing that you are pursuing on the other side of all this action that you're taking, right? What is the thing? Is the thing for you to run that marathon? Is the thing for you to climb a hill? Yesterday, they broke the pull-up world record. The guy that broke it broke it with 6 hours to go. It was 18 hours into it, and he had done I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it was 9,654, I think is what he broke it with.
He broke it by 4.
Something like that, right? But he had 6 hours to go. He ended up doing 10,001, right? What kind of training do you think went into that? Sure, he had to do a lot of pull-ups, right? And it wasn't the first time that he attempted it, and it wasn't like the most amount he had ever done. It's like it's all the sum of a lot of things. A couple weeks ago, just to keep going on that, we were watching the Conquer 100 with the Iron Cowboy. You don't know who the Iron Cowboy is? He is a long-distance athlete or runner who has done multiple triathlons, and a couple years ago, he decided to do one full Ironman triathlon every single day for 50 days in 50 different states. Started in Hawaii, went to Seattle, drove through all the states, and did a full Ironman triathlon every single day for 50 days in a row.
Insane.
Incredible. And I think a year or two ago decided, why not do 100, right? But there's not 100 states, so he did them all in Utah where he lives and recorded the whole thing, and we were watching the documentary. And it's like, you cannot train for 100 triathlons.
In 100 days.
Right? But what you can do is condition yourself enough to get going, and along the way, because you're doing the thing, become stronger at doing the thing that you're already doing. And what that means for somebody who is not trying to do 100 triathlons in a row is, if your goal is to lose weight or transform the way you look or go through a massive transformation to do a photo shoot or step on stage, week 1, you're not going to have all the ducks in a row, right? And what you want to do is know what direction you're going in, make sure that you are intentional about what you're doing, and along the way, you start to acquire the skills and the habits that will turn you into the person that, when they step on stage, has done all the things that are required. It doesn't happen overnight, because even if you're 100% disciplined to do the things, you haven't done it before. So you can't know what it's like, and you can't know what it feels like. So maybe you're not ready to eat all the food. Maybe you're not ready to do all the workouts. But along the way, you develop the ability to do it because you're putting forth the effort to do it. Does that make sense?
And there are so many ways to get creative with that effort, right? And with that intention. Like, one of the things that has been really hard for me always has been my water, just because I can't even tell you that I'm one of those people that hates water, because I don't. I actually really enjoy drinking water, but a lot of water has always been hard for me. I don't think I've had a single prep where I've drank my water, like, every single day for the entire prep or for a week straight. Like, it's just really tough for me. And we're going to get into specifics in a little bit, but it's like, that's one of the things that I'm talking about when I say it just requires intention. Drinking water doesn't mean you can't go to work, right? It doesn't mean that you can't take care of your kids. It doesn't mean that you can't clean your house. It doesn't mean anything. It just means that you have to be intentional about drinking your water. So what does that mean? Do you carry a big jug? Do you set alarms on your phone so that every hour you chug a glass? Like, how can you be intentional about that thing? That is not going to take anything away from everything you're doing. And I know that everybody's already like, well, if I'm on the road, I can't stop to pee, or at my job, I can't stop to pee. Great. We coach people like that too. You got to put some sort of method behind it, right? If you're on the road a lot, how do we chug before and during, before you get somewhere? And like, we go on long distance road trips.
As a matter of fact, we recorded that because Christmas, not right before Christmas, we went to Miami, and we've got a gallon of water that we're going to drink. And we're going to tell you why in a second. But we did not want to stop on the road, even though it's just 3 hours. And for some people, 3 hours might as well be 3 days, right? And for some people, 3 hours is nothing. But ultimately, 3 hours in the car when you are used to needing bathroom access regularly isn't necessarily the most convenient thing, right? It's not impossible, just not convenient.
Right. You don't want to keep stopping. It's annoying.
So we needed some sort of method.
Right.
To do it on the way down and on the way back.
Yep.
But the important thing was to get it done.
Correct.
And I think that sometimes that's what's missed.
And
how do we get it done?
No matter what.
No matter what.
Inside of what we got going on.
Not how is it most convenient. If it's not convenient, then not today.
Like, I'm not going to do it like that.
Right? It's like, how do you get it done? And I think that sometimes when we are looking at fitness or goals or any kind of goal, guys, like whether you're starting a business or you're on a fitness journey or you are transforming your life in any way whatsoever,
insert goal.
You've got to figure out how to get things done.
Yes.
Because getting things done is how you get to the other side of what you're looking for.
Correct.
The magic is on the other side, right? Everybody thinks that the magic is in the thing. The magic is not in the, you've said it multiple times, the magic is not in the glutes, the abs, the legs, the bank account, the car, the house, whatever, right? The magic is in how you feel on the other side of that.
After you do it.
Right? But how you feel on the other side of that is a result of having done the things.
Yes.
Right? Like the kind of conditioning that you would have if you prepared for one of these races, right? A triathlon, high rocks, a marathon, a 5K. Think about how your body would feel, your resting heart rate, your stress level, how tired you are at the end of the day. Think about what it would feel like on the other side of having completed that. The way you feel, that good feeling, is a result of all of the work. It's not a result of doing the race, right? So that's what I mean by that. It's like what you're pursuing, the confidence, the way your clothes fit when you put it on, the way you take pictures, the way you take something, whatever it is that you're looking for. It's on the other side of doing the work. It's not on the other side of the photo shoot or the stage. It's the other thing that comes, but it comes as a result of the work. This thing, right? The shoot, the show, the race is the thing that you need to kind of like go in the direction that you're going, right? That's the carrot, the North Star. It's the motivation, the inspiration, if you want to use a different word. That thing has to be there. But you are not looking for that thing. You are looking for what's on the other side of that thing. But you're not going to jump over the thing, and you're not going to escape the work. And that's why we are talking about finding a way to get things done, because getting things done is the only way you're going to get where you want to go.
And you can get things done no matter what you have going on, because we are all busy. We are all stressed at times. We all are juggling a million things. There's always a way to be intentional without taking away from your current life and from your current schedule. There always is. But what I know happens is that people rely too much on how they feel and make it non-negotiable. I saw something on Instagram today. This girl wrote, yesterday me was 10 out of 10 motivated and signed up for a Pilates class today. Today me was 0 out of 10 motivated, but didn't want to go to the Pilates class, but went, and so happy I did because I feel so much better now, right? And I think that that's ultimately what happens with everybody that has a goal that has nothing to do with, let's say, their job or their kids or their finances or whatever. When it's personal, when it's personally, I want to achieve this. I want to feel this way. I want to look this way. I want to go do this thing. When it's something like that, we make it so negotiable and we leave it up to like, well, if I feel like it, if it's super convenient, it's almost like I'm super committed as long as it doesn't get difficult or inconvenient, right? It's like, that's the problem with that, because like I said, the water is a great example because everyone always has a million excuses of why they personally can't do it. No, you don't know my life is just so different. Like, you don't know my situation. It's like, no one's any different. All it requires is doing the work no matter what in a way that you can without taking away from all your other things. No one says, nope, today I'm too tired, too stressed, and have too much going on in this house to go to work. No one says that, right? Like they go to work. So it's one of those things where your personal endeavors, your personal goals have to have that space or that slice of the pizza too.
I think that we are in a time where everybody's looking for the easiest way to do things and the most convenient way to do things. And a lot of times when we are talking, right, it's like, well, you don't understand my thing, right? You like literally, like you were
People
saying,
say that all the time.
right? And sometimes it's easy to throw it back at you. It's like, well, let me tell you like about our thing.
Let me tell you my things.
Right? And I always feel terrible having to leverage the difficulties of the situations that we've gone through to show someone that what they're going through isn't that tough, right? But I think over the course of all of these weeks and reflecting and thinking, you know, you start to realize that everybody is able to handle only what they can handle, right? If you go to the gym today and you give your workout your all, it would be unfair for somebody who's been training longer than you to say, well, that workout sucked. Look at how much more I can lift, right? It would be unfair. So it's not a fair comparison to take someone's, you know, worst moments and compare it to somebody else's worst moments.
Yeah.
And say, you don't even know, like push through that. It's like we can't all push through the same things, right? You haven't been conditioned to push through the same things, but we are utilizing our experiences to say, listen, if we can do it after 300 days on the road, 44 weeks of lots of uncertainty, 34 different Airbnbs, 10 hotels, and cooking and prepping and training and doing, right?
And working and children
and
all the things.
That's not even going back to 9 years ago. This was going on, right? It's like, it should be the thing that you maybe think about for a second and be like, if they can do it, right? And we're all made, let me see. Let me touch again. We're all made of the same stuff, then you should be able to do it too. That's kind of what we're saying. It's not that your problems are not big, and it's not that the 100% that you're giving it doesn't mean anything, but it's like, if we're all made of the same stuff, then we can all handle the same stuff. That means that we could handle more. That means that you can handle more. Mm-hmm. And that means that when you listen to things like this, what you should be getting from it, hopefully, is like, wow, maybe there is a way. Maybe there is a way for me to drink all my water, eat all my food, work out, have time with my kids, be a good partner, a good spouse, a good employee, a good boss, a good member of my community, a good member of the planet, a good member of the universe, right? Whatever you want to be, a good insert thing, maybe these conversations help you look at it and have a perspective shift, right? I think you wrote a post about perception boxes. Perspective shifts are simply a way of looking at something through a different lens and allowing it to change your mind, because how we started the episode is showing you that of the 100,000 thoughts you have every day, more than 80% of them are the same. And that's why you're in the same spot. It isn't that you can't necessarily handle more, because we can all handle the same. It's that your thought process is the same all the time. And our journey, even though it's self-imposed and we chose it, can be the thing that you maybe look at and say, okay, you know, maybe I can reorganize this or restructure that, and that will give me a little bit more time to finish my water. And if that's all you got out of this, then I'm glad we've been on the road for 300 days, because now you can finish your water.
Now you can finish your water. And listen, this one sounds ridiculous, because it's like, yeah, but we're kind of traveling around and whatever. It's like, but that doesn't mean that doesn't come with hurdles, and that doesn't mean that because we're all made out of the same thing that we don't have stresses, that we don't have hard moments, that we don't have problems. Like we're all on this planet experiencing the same stuff, right? We all have our stuff. Like, it is what it is. And this isn't the only time where we're making things happen no matter what. Like you're saying, there have been much tougher moments. This isn't necessarily a tough moment. It's just a unique scenario. But we've had really, really difficult moments in our lifetime together, and even beyond that. Like, I feel like everyone's whole life is difficult. Like, that's like what we're here to do, like overcome the shit all the time, right? But it's like there have been so many moments where things are tough, so many moments where things are like, how the fuck are we going to do this or that? And you do it anyway. And I think that when you can do that, when you can do it no matter what, that's really what builds what you're saying. That's really on the other side of what.
Well, that totally solidifies my point, right? When you do the hard things, right? That thing that I was saying about that training, when you do the hard things, then you can get what's on the other side of the hard things, right?
Yes.
9 years ago, this week or this month or whatever, I was paralyzed. The hard thing would have been to stand up and walk. What's on the other side of that would have been having a life. Not doing it would have meant some challenges that were big, right? So the hard stuff is hard no matter how you look at it. Hard workout, a hard run, an uncomfortable situation because you want to be a little bit more out there, but you're a little bit shy, like she's gone through. You're not as confident. It's like all the hard things that we have to do. I wrote an email about that the other day, right? All the hard things that you have to do and overcome give you the thing that you're looking for. But that hard thing is kind of the journey, right? It's not that you should be, it's not that the things suck. It's that sometimes maybe through a perspective shift or through a different perception box, you can look at things in a way that it's like, wow, this hard thing is actually a gift because on the other side of this hard thing, I'm going to be better. That's all. Yeah. And that's a lot of what's come out of these 300 days. And that's honestly how we want to coach moving forward. Making sure that we have these big challenges for people that we work with, and that on the other side of these challenges, they end up being a better version of themselves than they were when they started. And that we create the path, right? Because that's what we do. We create the path for them to get to the other side. We are not, listen, let me set the record straight, and hopefully we chop this up. We do not offer meal plans. We do not offer training programs. Those are a part of our coaching, right? The difference is this. A meal plan is a piece of paper that I can give you with instructions on it. And so is a workout. I could write here 10 push-ups, 10 squats, and 10 crunches. 3 sets, 3 times a week. Go. That doesn't mean anything. Coaching, creating the path to get you from where you are to where you want to be, that's what we do. We don't do, let me write this and you do it, right? And I don't know where people got that because it's never what I've said. We create plans based on people, but the plan itself isn't the thing. The path to where you're going is the thing. And inside of that, maybe you don't need a new meal plan. Maybe what you need is a different way of looking at things, like we've just been talking about, to help you get organized enough to get to the other side. Maybe you need to look at your workout a little bit different. It doesn't always require a new plan, more calories, less calories, 3 more sets, 5 more reps. That isn't what's going to get you to the outcome. And sometimes people are just as stuck on that as they are on the scale. That isn't it. What we do is create a path. That path is to get you from where you are today, whatever today is, to where you want to be. On the other side of the goal, right? So we need the goal, but where you want to be is on the other side of the goal. And that's what we do.
Mic drop.
Anyway.
And there is a difference, by the way, because I know that if you're not familiar with it, you're like, well, what's the difference? Like, you're creating the plan. Isn't that the path? No, coaching is the path, right? Because it is unique to everybody, and it is unique to everybody's going to have a different day, a different week. Coaching somebody means you're on this ride with them, and it's going to include plans and it's going to include changes, but what you're doing is coaching them through it, not continuously giving them new meal plans.
Guys, I don't know why sometimes that's so hard to understand. This weekend is the Super Bowl, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. There are going to be 2 teams on both sides of the field, right? You are going to have a bunch of professional athletes with coaches. The professional athletes know how to play the game. The coaches provide insight that the athletes can't see so that they can try to win the game. That's all. So it's not that you don't know that you should be eating and exercising. It's that you may not see it the way that we see it because we are looking at it through the coaching angle, and we are able to look at it through a different lens and create a path, right? Coaches run plays. We create a path.
Same.
See?
Let's talk about what we've been doing for the last
75 hard.
Can you believe it?
Guys, if
can't
you've
believe it.
watched our podcast, there's more than 100 episodes if you didn't know that. And you can go back and listen. Spotify, iTunes, there's some on SoundCloud still, YouTube, more than 100 episodes of Lais and The Coach. And we have talked about 75 hard so many times, too many to even address.
And not just talked about it, we've started it so many
Well, that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
talked about it because we were going
Yeah,
to do it.
yeah.
Guys, we're starting 75 hard. Who wants to do it with us? Guys, we're
Do
going
it
to do
with
75.
us.
Right? Over the years, so many times.
Our first attempt was in 2019.
It was right after Andy announced it.
Right after.
Like, literally, I heard that and I was like, genius.
2019.
This is the thing, right?
Mhm.
Not realizing that along the way, the level of commitment required was going to kind of like expose those moments where you're not that committed, right? And we failed many, many times. Many times.
We've started
many
75
times.
hard at least 10 times since 2019,
For sure.
if not more.
Mm-hmm.
I personally never got through more than a week.
I got 20 days.
Yeah, I think you got 20 days. I don't think I ever got to 7 or 10, but maybe that's the vicinity. I don't even remember it. And we have attempted and failed, and it's eluded us, and we've given up on it. I know I did. I know there were moments I'm like, fuck this. Like, tonight I need to rest. I'm not going to finish all this water, and then I'm going to get up all night to pee. This is ridiculous for some challenge. You know, interestingly enough, what I realize now is that I know firsthand how powerful it is to see anything through just because of what you're saying, like who you are on the other side of that, right? Everyone thinks, and I say this all the time, that being confident, you know, it's the tight ass and the abs, right? Or it's like, yeah, well, if I look like that, I'd be confident. Like, if you look like that, you'd be confident, but not because you look like that. You'd be confident because of everything you had to do and become to look like that. And then on the other side of that is the confidence. If you wake up with that body, you're not going to be confident. It doesn't work that way, right? And can't wake up with that body. So the work that you put in, the nights where you're like, man, today I was so tired and I went to the gym anyway, or I really wanted to eat this and I didn't, or I really didn't want to eat this and I had to eat all this food. Insert scenario, the thing that you're with you 24/7. You know everything you had to do to be the parent you are, to be the professional you are, right, at your job, to be the spouse you are, whatever, to be who you are. It's like when you set out and when you have a goal and you do everything you need to do to get to that goal, it's almost like the goal doesn't matter. It's more like this person set this goal and I did the things no matter what. There's something so gratifying about it on the other side of that, right? You start to feel like a completely different version of yourself. The same happens when you do something big, right? Like I felt like a whole other human the moment I stepped off stage for the first time.
Correct.
Because you did something so big. So you did the prep, but then you also did something so big. And it's like, it changes you forever. You're a whole different person. So this, I always looked at it. This is where I was going wrong with it. Like, this is just a stupid challenge. Like I have more important things, right? Like I have my prep, or I have like my health and or I need the rest. And it's like, this is silly. Not looking at it the way that I was supposed to, which is like, it doesn't matter what it is. Like I'm committing to me, not to this random challenge. I'm just using this challenge as the thing that's going to make me do it non-negotiable. And that's true about any goal. When you look at any goal, you look at the stage, it's stupid. It's ridiculous. Who cares? Like, if you think about it like that, like how I was looking at it, where it's like, okay, you're going to go in front of a bunch of strangers. Some random judges are going to tell you what they think. You get a $5 medal, like a piece of plastic. Like that doesn't change your life. Of course not. It's stupid. What's not stupid and what's life-changing is all the work that you do and who you become in that process and who you come out on the other side as. So it doesn't matter what the goal is. Committing to yourself. That's why people feel so amazing when they graduate, right? Or when they buy their house. It's an accomplishment. Accomplishing something that makes you feel proud and that you earned is extremely gratifying. So while I was looking at 75 hard like a stupid challenge, and I don't have time for that right now because of better things to do than not sleep because I drank water. I missed the fact that really how I should have been looking at it was that I was committing to myself in a way that was non-negotiable, and I was using that as the vehicle.
Well, the other day, I think maybe Friday or Saturday, I wrote, what if the goal wasn't the trophy, right? Because obviously, if you guys watch the show, you know that we coach people that are getting ready to compete, whether it's for the first time or the 10th time, like she's done, and everything in between. But what if the goal wasn't the trophy? What if the goal was the person you needed to become to earn it? We go back to what I said just a few minutes ago, right? If you only focus on the moment, then you miss the part that comes after. Because even if your goal was to win a show, the medal, the trophy, whatever, what happens the day after that? What happens the week after that? Are you still that person, or do you go back to who you used to be, right? Because none of us want that, right? After all that work, you want to be the person that was able to overcome whatever you had to overcome to get ready for that.
Yes.
And 75 Hard escaped us for so long, and I kept saying that it was the thing that we needed for so many reasons, right? You got to eat intentionally, right? You got to stay hydrated. We need to walk, which we know is good for us. We need to strength train, which we know is good for us. You don't have to strength train on 75 Hard. You got to work out twice a day, but strength training was what we chose.
Yeah.
You need to read, right? Something that was for your own personal development. And all of those things together, think about it. If for 75 days you exercised twice a day, drank a gallon of water, ate with intention, and filled your mind with
something that's going to serve you,
10 pages of ideas that were going to serve you, back to you have the same 100,000 thoughts a day, right? It's like, what version of you is on the other side, right? And that's the reason that this time we said, we've got to do this, but we've got to go all in, and we've got to see it through no matter what. And we picked the hardest time of the year to do it.
I know.
Not only because we were in the middle of this stuff that we're doing.
You were
right?
going to say nonsense.
I was going to say nonsense. That's another episode. Not only because of that, but we were 2 weeks away from Thanksgiving. We were 5 or 6 weeks away from Christmas
and New Year's.
New Year's. How do people celebrate socially in any of those holidays? You eat. Nobody's thinking about working out or drinking water, right? Yeah. And when I realized that, I wanted to do it even more. I wanted to do it inside of we got to move every week. I wanted to do it inside of Thanksgiving is coming. I wanted to do it, Christmas is coming. We're going to be with family. We are moving all over the place. Like, I wanted to do it inside of all the chaos, almost like make it harder.
Yeah. And we started at like the end of the day too. Right.
Like it was a Monday, and we were having a conversation of the many, many that we've had in this journey. And I said to her, what we need is to do 75 Hard, but we need to do it. And we went back and forth a little bit. She's like, we should just start now. And I thought about it for like a second, and I said, that's exactly what we need. It was 5:30, and she was further along in her water than I was. But we had to finish a gallon of water that day.
Get 2 workouts in.
Because
we hadn't done anything.
Read 10 pages. Our food was fine, so it wasn't something that really required adjusting. And we got it done that day, and we got it done that week, and we got it done that month, and we did it in November through Thanksgiving. We did it through Christmas. We did it through New Year's, and we are on day 71.
4 days to go.
We got 4 days to go, and I could tell you around day 30, the 20s or so, I was like, there's no way I don't ever want to keep doing this, right? There's just no way that I want to go back to not doing this all the time.
Yeah.
Not just because, you start to feel better and you start to act better and all the things that it improves, but it's like, this is exactly what we were missing. This is exactly why we started this journey, because there were too many inconsistencies and too many options, right? Like, do we do it like this or do we do it like that? Like, this gave us the structure to know what we needed to do when it came to our fitness goals specifically, right? And luckily for us, we practice, flexible dieting, and we balance our energy intake daily. So inside of following a meal plan, there are some variables that we can control. And before anybody says anything about that, according to the definition of what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to follow a diet, any diet you want. And
Ours
luckily,
happens to be flexible.
and luckily for us, we understand energy intake, and we have some flexible approaches to that. But it has allowed us, again, we share all of it. It has allowed us to. The problem isn't the eating of the food or what you're eating. You can go keto, you go paleo, you can go zone, you can do whatever you
can
want.
Go vegan, doesn't matter what you do.
It's at the end of the day when you don't want to eat it, or in the middle of the day when you forgot to eat it. It's like, how are you going to get it all done?
When you're busy
right?
and you're eating
water.
one meal.
I think water is universal for all of you, right? Keto, paleo, vegan, Eritrean, whatever it is that you do. I'm pretty sure that we can all agree you need to drink water. Drinking a gallon of water at the end of the day when you're like, shit, I still got to drink all this water, and know that all night long I'm going to be interrupted. Shit, and I haven't read my book yet.
And I'm falling asleep here. And here's the thing. I think for a lot of people, it's like, you've been doing this for 30 years. I've prepped for 10 shows. We have taken so many people through so many goals, right? It's like, we are very capable of getting on a fitness journey without using something like 75 hard,
For
right?
sure.
But I think what made it different was because we know so much, there was always a loophole.
It's the choices, right? We go back to options.
So then it would be like, yeah, I prep for 10 shows, and I can literally say I've never drank a gallon of water every day for an entire prep or for an entire week. So what would happen? One day I would be in a place like this, right? And my water would be here, and it'd be 6 p.m. and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to finish my water today. Like, it's just not, I can't do it. Tomorrow I'm going to start earlier and I'm going to finish my water. And I missed some water today. It's not really the end of the world, right? And then the same thing would happen with the food. Today the day got the best of me and I'm only on 2 meals. Well, let me eat as much as I can now without feeling sick. And tomorrow I'll make sure that I start earlier. And then tomorrow and the next day I would have a better day, but then I get another busy day. But he would always balance it out. Well, then eat this, right? Or then tomorrow, like, let's do this with the water.
That's called coaching.
Right.
That's why we don't sell meal plans.
So we still have always been able to get incredible results,
For
even
sure.
without being non-negotiable about
But it wasn't
certain
about
things.
but it wasn't about the results.
But I have always gotten to every single stage moment knowing I could have given it more, because my approach to the prep was always like, I'm going to do great and I'm going to do my best inside of what I got going on, but not I'm going to be non-negotiable no matter what. And now I'm like, fuck, I have a lot of water to go. I better start chugging because I committed to this and I'm doing it this way and there's no falling short. That's the difference. So it's a different, because this has eluded us for so long, and because it's 5 very specific things, or 6, or whatever the hell it is, 7, it's made me be like, I got to a place where I'm like, if I can't do this for 75 days straight, then I need to just give up on life. Because it's like, I've attempted it so many times and it's like, I keep getting in my own way. I would really like to see this through. I would really like to do this the way that it's intended to, right? And so the water that used to be like, well, I guess I'm not finishing my water today. That's not an option because I committed to this thing. So then it's like, I get to chugging, it's going to be a long night, like you're saying. And that's what changed everything. So while this isn't necessarily like a fitness challenge, it's a mental toughness challenge.
Correct.
It's the being non-negotiable with your word and with the goal you set out for yourself, because that's ultimately where confidence actually comes from. Keeping your word to yourself, building a reputation with yourself, stacking those wins with yourself. Only you are watching you 24/7 and being like, wow, I did that. And I did that. And I did that. That feels good. That changes you. And that's what I wanted out of this challenge. And that's exactly what we got out of it.
Guys, as of yesterday, we've consumed 595 pounds of water. Think about that for a
I
second.
feel like I've peed it all out.
In the last 70 days, almost 600 pounds of water. I mean,
It's a lot of peeing.
it's a lot of water. Anyway, but along that, like most other things, we've become inspired. And we have wanted to do so many things, right? It's like, this is one of those things that I think everybody should do, but you've got to be willing. And if you're willing and you want help, you want some direction, you would like to be coached through 75 Hard, you would like a program and a path to follow so that that diet that you have to follow is easy to execute because it fits you, and you have a program that maybe accommodates your goal, because you can use the 75 days as that marking period where you're like, all right, for the next 75 days, I'm going to train like this to get this outcome. Yes, we can help you with that. You already have the instructions. 2 workouts a day, you follow diet, drink your water, read a book. You got that part already. What diet?
You gotta take a
Right?
picture, yeah.
What workout? Well, let's look at your goal. How do we leverage these 75 days for you?
Tailor it to
That is what we can help with.
Right.
But along the way, we've also discovered that there are other things that we would want to work on. Her specifically, she was like, you know, this daily picture
It's a daily progress picture.
It's a daily progress picture. Well, it's a good idea. I actually would want to work on something different, right? And I'd like to work on this other thing. And I think that if I did that over the course of whatever amount of days, because once we did 75 hard for, like I said, like 30 days or so, we were locked in. We were like, this is it. This is what we want to do.
Yeah. It's a massive momentum builder too.
Incredible. Well, think about it. We ended the year 30 something days into this, right?
Yeah.
So that's how we closed 2024. We started 2025 in the middle of this.
Yeah.
So here we are, day 70, February 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so that means that all of January, I could show you my chart. Literally every day on my aura was a crown, because every day in January we worked out, right? Every day in December we worked out. Like, that's how we closed and that's how we started. Think about the momentum that builds.
Yes.
Any time of the year, but especially end of the year, beginning of the new year.
Yeah.
But along the way, we did discover that there are things that we would like to leverage or do different inside of this format that would benefit us personally. But at the same time, it's like, well, maybe it helps somebody else. And as a result, she came up with something that she wants to start doing in the next 4 days when we finish 75 hard. You want to tell them about it?
Sure. So inside of a lot of the conversations that we have and inside of a lot of our walks and workouts, it's exactly what he said. I was like, I love this. I love the idea of a non-negotiable like challenge and goal like this, where you have very specific tasks that you need to complete every day. Because even with a prep, it's like, okay, I'm prepping for this show. I have a timeline and a deadline. Here's my show date. I need to eat. I need to train. Eventually I need to pose. Like, you do have tasks, but like I was saying earlier, there's always a way around it. I didn't post today, I'll post tomorrow. I didn't tan today, I'll tan tomorrow, right? It's like, oh, today the waters. But when the challenge is completing the things, not necessarily a goal at the end, like the stage or like a photo shoot, which again, I'm a massive believer that you need big goals like that. When the goal is an actual challenge, I really, really liked that feeling because of the amount of momentum that it built. So it's like, I am prepping for a show. I'm prepping for a few shows. But this challenge really changed the way that I was going about it, the way that I was looking at it. It gave me so much structure because I'm like, okay, I got to do these things every single day. This is what I got to do, right? And it's very straightforward. But inside of that, yes, there were a couple things that I felt I didn't love about it. And then there were a couple things that I felt would be better inserted. And so inside of those conversations and inside of experiencing this for ourselves, we decided to create our own. So that's how the Pretty Power Project came about. I'm excited. It is, I guess, my take on what I believe are critical daily tasks that every woman can do and should do in order to build a massive amount of momentum and feel, honestly, like the way that I have felt with 75 hard, but better, right? Something tailored more to what I feel is super important for you to feel great inside and out, for you to build the habits that are going to serve you, and for you to have a specific challenge that you're going to do for a specific amount of time with specific tasks every day, but in a way that's really tailored and curated for women, I guess.
Absolutely. And if you want to know more about the Pretty Power Project and the challenge, first of all, it's going to be free.
It's going to be free, you guys.
It's going to be free. I am going to put a link in the description to her women's only Facebook group, which is also free.
It's a private group.
Where she is going to launch it today. It doesn't start today, but she is going to announce it with all of the details on what you got to do to be a part of it today. So if you are watching this, go to Lais's Facebook group. Just click on the link in the description and you can go there, or you can message her directly if you follow her on social, and she will send you a link. She's going to, 5:30 p.m. today, she is going to go live in that group and lay out all the details.
I'm so excited.
But that's not all. In addition to the Pretty Power Project Challenge, as we talked about it, because she focuses on helping women, we decided that there needed to be more conversations about a lot of topics that honestly we just don't hear enough about, and we don't see that a lot of people are talking about in the way that, maybe we talk about or discuss it. So in addition to the Pretty Power Project Challenge, Lais is also going to be launching the Pretty Power Project podcast on her own.
I'm so excited.
And you can tell them about that.
I'm so excited because it's what you're saying. It's like there has to be a space just for women, right? Like that's why I created my women's only private Facebook page. It's called the Savage Butterfly Society and community. And I created that because I wanted a space for women. And I think like I have a son, I have an amazing husband. Like I'm not one of those people that like thinks that that men can't be in the conversation. Like it isn't that. But I think that there's this affinity of woman to woman thing of the way we think and the way we talk and the way we function and the way that we just reason. And there's so much power in being able to have, you know, conversations with women and being able to say things in a free way that only other women would understand and would be able to relate to. And so I actually created that group back in 2018, so a really long time ago. And ever since then, it really has been such a passion of mine to talk to women, to talk about women, and to talk and to dive into all things that make us who we are and how we are. And the Pretty Power Project Challenge really is one of those things that are going to take that to the next level because, like I said, it is curated for us women, right? But the Pretty Power Project podcast, I'm really excited about because not only do I have so many things that I'd love to share personally in a place for women, but also the amount of women that I want to bring onto that podcast and that I want to hear their stories and hear, you know, their journeys and their insight, because I feel like it's so powerful when women get together and when women share who they are and how they do things, and it spreads, right? And I'm really excited about it because I love doing this show together. And obviously that's not going anywhere. We're going to continue to do that. But this other, I guess, segment of who I am and what I'm here to do and what I know that I can provide for so many women is so exciting to me because it's its own space. And I have so many plans for it, and I'm just really excited.
And so, like you said, Lais and The Coach will continue,
Yes.
as always. But episode 1 of the Pretty Power Project podcast is going out right now. And there's a link in the description to that also. So there's a ton of content and information in the description. So if you want to watch episode 1, just go to the description, click on the link. It will be on her YouTube channel. So you could watch episode 1 there. And again, go to her women's page and be on the lookout for all of the things that she is getting ready to launch. It is the beginning of 2025, and we have a lot of plans for this year. And we want to bring a lot of people along because what we ultimately want is, like I said before, we want to help people get from where they are to where they want to be. We want to be a part of that process. We want to help you engineer the path to get there. And at the end of the year, we want to be a participant in that transformation process that gives you the feeling that you're going to get after doing the big thing. So we've got to do the big thing. We've got to do the work. But then on the other side, we want to be there to celebrate with you. So That's what we got so far. That is everything that has happened, and that is some of the things that are going to happen. And we've got a couple other episodes of Lais and The Coach where we want to discuss about Airbnb specific things. And for you guys to go on vacation, we'll give you some insider tricks and tips and things that we have figured out along the way. We've got some contest stuff that we want to discuss.
We have some incredible guests coming.
We've got a lot of things. But with all that said, guys, thank you for the 100+ episode support. Thank you for being part of our show, of our programs, of all the things that we do. The one thing for 2025 that I do want to say is participate more in this community, meaning like, don't just listen and like, oh, that was good. Like, talk to us, because honestly, like a lot of times we draw from the conversations that we are having and we address a lot of the things that, you know what, maybe you want our take on it, right? Like, what's it like to homeschool your kids? What's it like to employ your kids? What's it like to work together all day? Like all the things that to us maybe seem normal, or maybe to us, we just have a different perspective on. So the more you engage, the more questions you ask, the more we would be happy to talk about all of those things.
For sure. I'm excited for this new year and this new season.
All right, guys, click on that link. Pretty Power Project podcast is live now. Peace out, everybody.